Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels to short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Good morning.
Good morning, Sarah. Another fantastic episode here.
That's right.
Another great week. I like the angle of your camera here today. Everything looks lined up nicely.
Okay.
Great
All
show
right.
today.
Right. We have to bring everybody up to speed. So just before we went live, I asked if we could flip sides on the screen because I'm facing a certain direction. And that's all. You know what? And here they are thinking I'm a diva saying it's my better angle. But,
it is a very good angle. We all like it. Everyone watching here. Tell us where you're watching from. We love it. We've been missing the shout outs here, so we would love to give some shout outs.
Yeah. We definitely need some shout outs. You're in Miami. How are things there?
Beautiful Miami. These are the days that everyone's coming here. We've got the boat show being set up right now. Then you got Wine and Food Festival coming up right after that.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
Just like this is my favorite month in Miami.
Thank you, Will. We both look great. Well, you know.
I've been working out, eating healthy. We were talking about that. Get some good energy here.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Inspired all of us.
Workout club.
And how is it in LA? I know probably still kind of weird, but is it nice weather? Is it raining? What do you got going on?
Yeah, it is raining. Never have I ever been so excited for rain. I think so many of us. Oh gosh, as you can hear, I have a little bit of a cough. I honestly think like the air quality is just making all of us a little bit heavy in our chest and throat area. So hopefully we've got rain today, a little bit, I think tomorrow, a couple days here. Hopefully it just kind of like helps just with the air quality for now, at least. I mean,
do you have any trips coming up? I haven't seen you travel. I think this is the least I've ever seen you travel in a couple of weeks.
I know. Yeah, I do. I've got some trips. I'll be just easy ones. I'll be in Phoenix and then and then I'll be in Iowa. I'm speaking in Iowa in March. You know, generally for travel and the type of stuff I do, it's a little quiet in January, February. Every year is different. I mean, last year I was traveling for different things. So it's a little quiet right now. I think we had a really crazy start to the year.
Yep. It's been a wild start for everybody. And now
for
I feel
everybody.
Like today I was like, I can control what I can control. Like we said behind backstage, right? It's been crazy. A lot of stuff going on in your world, everyone's world. I say, you know what? There's only a few things we can control. It's what we think about everything, how we treat our bodies, how we view the world. I say, you know what? I'm going to focus on the things that are positive. Focus on everything going.
You know, and so I mean, I've got some things like in the background that I'm just kind of waiting for them either to come out, like my TED Talk I did. You know, I'm working on the second book, all of that. And even though I'm like, and it's like, you know, with the climate right now being so, there's just so much going on. It's like, you know, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen, and hopefully we just get a little bit more. Things are just a little bit less heightened.
I think too, social media is for me. All of a sudden, I'm like taking in too much things, too much negativity on X.
Oh yeah. I actually
and all these things. So I got to give myself a diet on that too. I think as well.
I love that you say that. I mean, obviously,
it hit me today. I was like,
oh really? That you were like, no. I am very strict on myself on that. I have been probably honestly ever since the pandemic, where everything was just like really crazy. I just really have been mindful of it. Obviously, part of my business is on social media.
All of us post so much. So challenge ourselves here live. And if any of you wants to have a challenge, let's figure it out what it's going to be at the end of the show.
I know, but I love it. But yeah, I mean, again, be mindful for it. What I also will say is be mindful what you put out. You know, it's like somebody posted something the other day that they were like, I refuse to complain on social media. I would rather talk to a squirrel. I'm like, okay, well, that's one approach. But like, it was an interesting sentiment in the sense that, we are seeing, not only is like news heightened and everything and all sorts of stuff back and forth, but then you also have people that are complaining about things and all of that. And so it gets heavy after a while.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say about it, because we have a real good show to talk about, was that my 92-year-old grandmother said, Steve, back in our day, we only had the news come on at 6:30 at night, and we all watched it for 30 minutes and then went about our day. Today, you have it all day, all night. Whenever you want to pull it up, it's there. So I might go back to that. Like, I'm just going to check at certain intervals.
That is such a great point. I actually don't watch TV or anything, like, so rarely. I mean, I can probably count on my hand how many times in a year.
It's all on my phone, basically.
But or YouTube. It's all on our phone. Exactly. So if there's not one thing. Okay. Anyway, let's go
do
ahead
it.
And talk about some other things that are happening in the world.
Enough coffee talk.
Coffee talk. Oh yeah, we should talk about that too, but that'll be later. Okay. So interesting article came out. This was on Skift. Global hotel deals are set to surge in 2025, according to a JLL global forecast. Now, what was interesting is that shortly thereafter, there was another article that came out that said that it might be cooling due to other factors going on, but this report was definitely positive. They're saying global hotel investment is projected to increase by 15 to 25% this year. Major cities like London, New York, Tokyo are expected to see the significant investment activity, which kind of makes sense. But yeah, I mean, what were you kind of seeing in this?
It was interesting too in the article is that they might see resorts starting to slow down a little bit, right? They're starting to see resort areas may experience a slowdown, but urban markets are about to really push through and take off because now more and more people are comfortable getting back into the big cities. They've kind of taken a break from the big cities and going more to like nature experiences and outdoors and beaches and the water. So it also shows that in those cities, you already have a lot of places built up. So they're looking at what can we flip into something else, maybe unused office space into a hotel, or like they're doing here in Miami. They have a historic courthouse that was built in the 1920s that's now closed. Cool. They're like, who's going to take over it? Turn it into something. So I think you're going to see a lot more is what the report is saying. So more and more of these kind of creative uses, changing things. But I love seeing that there's going to be a big increase of 25% increase in hotel investments. That's big time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's interesting. It was saying that that right now it was saying that I guess like well, first of all, lower interest rates would fuel more hotel investment, which we obviously know how that works. Hotel investment levels are 17% below the historical average. So that's interesting. So it is due to go up. It's about time.
Yeah, and I think with new regulations, with whatever side of politics around the government now is trying to get rid of regulations and cut back on a lot of things. So I think that will help a lot of people looking to do projects. Like I just know my little project is forever just to get any kind of approvals. So just any on that, I think will be good. And if money is now freeing a little bit more easily, I could see it for others as well, where they're going to start building those projects they've been sitting on for 2-3 years.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of, happens over the next couple certainly over the course of this year and then after that. So there was a big conference that happened in LA last week. I happened to pop through.
Did you go?
I did. Oh, and how funny is this? Because I actually went after our show.
Talked about it.
And who do I bump into? Man of the hour, Raul Leal, after we talked about him on the show. Literally, we ran into each other on the street corner. He was by himself. I was by myself. We had a great little chat. But again, very excited with Starwood Hotels, what's happening with SH Hotels, all of that. So that was kind of.
Did you tell him we talked about him?
I did. So he was like, he's like, I got to get on the show. Maybe we'll figure out something to have him come on, share some fun. Something fun and newsworthy. That'd be great. Yeah, right, totally. But again, so it's a great conference for those that don't know. I mean, it is like the lodging conference. It's a lodging investment conference that happens every year in January in Los Angeles. It's a big thing. Lots of business going down. But they had some interesting highlights from this year. So that I thought was going to be interesting. So obviously they were talking about, labor challenges, kind of like a crackdown on immigration is going to significantly impact hotels that rely heavily on contract labor. So that's something that they're being mindful of moving forward. Also revenue growth, RevPAR growth is, it's increasing. The demand is increasing. So that's another aspect of it. And then also guest preferences. There's a continued demand for premium experiences with upscale properties leading occupancy and ADR growth. So, but it was very, I mean, this was like this conference sort of like sets the tone for the year. Very interesting.
What was the vibe? What was the vibe? Because I have a couple of thoughts on these, and then we get to the vibe. But how about that?
The vibe. I mean, it's a sense of. There's a sense of optimism. I mean, there's also a sense of like things are changing too. So it's like it's the cautious optimism because it's like, okay, things are changing, but we're also trying to get our footing as far as like how exactly things are changing. Yeah. So yeah, that would be, I think, the best way to.
A lot of change happening. So like the labor challenges, I think that's a big one, and I think that in just major cities across the country, you've already seen ICE coming through, and people are very nervous, and there's long lines of people trying to get their documentation. But I used to own a staffing company from 2014 to 2018.
Yes.
I used to hire everyone. You had to be e-verified, legal, drug test, background check. But my competitors did not. And they knew that they were hiring people that were not supposed to be working. And majority of their teams were, illegal immigrants. And they would come to my office because they saw that I paid more. And so they would come, and then I couldn't hire them. Yeah. And what turns out is that some of these large resorts, I'm not going to name any of them, but some of the big ones, 30-40% of the people working there are not documented immigrants, but they're going through a staffing company that has a contract saying that they are.
Oh, and so that's how they like get out of it.
Well, the contract says that they are.
Yeah.
Right? And so now
that's a bummer.
I've already started to see it. It's a lot of call outs, a lot of people not showing up to work because you have ICE showing up to places looking for people at certain jobs. So it will be interesting. I've had ICE raid my office before, so I know how intense it is when they come and look for all your documents and try to find if you have everything set up the right way.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I've been through it. So I know what's going on, and I know that pressure will start to come on very quickly.
Whew. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be very interesting just to see how things kind of play out over the next couple of months. There was another interesting thing that came out. Houston was a big talk, by the way.
Houston, what's going on in Houston?
Yeah, what's going on in Houston? So apparently, this is fascinating, and this kind of goes down to like I feel like we talked about this last week, or I've talked about it recently. Second tier cities, as far as like being like the hot spot and stuff like that. So apparently, the convention centers are being renovated in Dallas, Austin, and Fort Worth all at the same time.
Oh, a lot of competition,
right? So Houston is like, cool, thanks. Because so many things are coming to Houston now in the meantime. So that was and they're leading the nation by far with a very, very high increase in their RevPAR, but obviously because of the specific circumstances. But thought that was interesting, even if it's like a standalone idea, is that all of these other factors can go into specific market increases, depending on what's going on.
I think it's great. And the thing I like too here, I need to go visit Houston because I hear some good things about it.
Yeah, same.
But the other is the guest preferences, that the demand for premium experiences is continuing to go.
Yeah, for sure.
I see it here in my city. I'm not sure if you see it in LA, but like every major brand is opening up hotels. I know LA is going to go through a lot of changes here probably soon. Oh,
for sure. For sure. Yeah. I feel like we're not there right yet, but we will get there. Obviously. I mean, it is so
it's a magical city. Everyone's going to come back. It will come back. Just a little
yes, it'll definitely come back. So let's talk about another fun city. Las Vegas.
I'll be there in April, so if anyone wants to hang out, let's go.
Oh yeah, I saw you post that. I was like, oh hey,
it's a bachelor party.
I would say I should come say hi, but I don't need to be coming and saying hi to a bachelor party.
I might be. I don't know what my little brother's friends are going to be doing. It's my little brother. Let's see.
Hello. If everything can be documented, that is all I'm going to say. So Las Vegas, the Museum of Ice Cream. By the way, have you ever been to the Museum of Ice Cream? They've had rotating locations.
They have a permanent one here in Miami that opened up less than a mile from my home. And my kids have gone on a field trip. And every time I pass by, there is a line out the door, like a 40 to an 5 to an hour minute wait. Oh, there, my brother. He just popped in here. Someone say Vegas? Yes, David Turk.
Someone said Vegas, but what happened?
He heard it through the I don't know how, but I'm glad you're watching. But yes, we have a museum of ice cream here. It is packed all day, every day, Monday, Sunday, Wednesday, any hour you walk by it, line out the door. And I have not been in it. I need to go experience it.
Oh, well, so yeah, I have. I did one of the first, but when it came through LA, it wasn't permanent. But yeah, I went a couple years ago. I'm trying to remember, probably prior to the pandemic. So what's interesting is that fascinating that in Miami, it's a permanent structure, but they're set to launch their largest location in Las Vegas, which totally makes sense. And yeah, it's kind of fascinating because it's first of all, I find these different museums that like experiences very interesting. As far as like people going to them, like right now we have the balloon museum happening, which I was debating on going to.
All about the photos, right?
There is a museum, another museum, and I actually I feel bad because I didn't respond to them. They reached out. I think there's like a museum of torture and like medieval torture and something. And I saw the pictures and I was like, oh my God, I cannot go to this museum. I will be traumatized.
I don't know if that's on brand for you. Not on brand.
Maybe. No, are you kidding me? I felt so bad because it's like, I get it, they're a business, but I'm also like, oh my gosh. It reminded me of like the London, what is it? The Dungeon of Terror, whatever it is in London.
Well, here's what's cool about this. So I like that they're making their biggest one, but it started as a pop-up experience and it became so popular. They kept growing. They got some permanent locations. They took it around the country. And now they're like, all right, we're going to make our biggest one. We're also going to have hotel suites that are themed to this so people can actually sleep in them and live it now. So now you have all of these layers. When you start building a really good experience that you can start small, test it out, and keep it growing and growing and growing until you have the biggest one and you're in Vegas with hotel rooms. Pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, you're going to be in maybe the bachelor party needs
David, if you're still watching, are we taking the bachelor party to the Museum of Ice Cream? I'm sure they're going to love that. They'll be like, what is that?
I think that'll be great, guys. That'll be so cool.
Yeah, the best.
Oh my gosh. All right, switching gears, talking about travel. Interesting. I have a video coming out about this soon as a friendly reminder. Upcoming real ID requirements for domestic flights. It's finally happening. If you are if you're based in the United States, you have probably seen time and time again over the past couple of years, and maybe even had different notices that it's like, hey, you need to get your real ID. But now it's for real. Like you need that real ID.
So what is this? Talk to me about this because I'm going out of the country soon.
So basically, starting on May 7th, if you are in the United States, you have to have a real ID compliant driver's license or another form of ID, like a passport or something like that, to board a domestic flight. So it basically looks like your normal like driver's license, but the real IDs are marked with a star in the upper right corner. So basically it's taking our traditional form of driver's license and identification and just stepping it up a notch. But these are what the real IDs are. I think it was their attempt to sort of like streamline and make sure that if you've seen different states IDs, some were pretty casual looking, let's just put it like that. And so this was kind of the way to level up everybody.
I get it. Because so now I got to check mine to make sure. So if they check state by state, right?
Yeah, for sure. You have to check state by state. So I got mine. I got mine in 2020 when they first were like, oh, you need to have it by May of 2020. And then obviously a lot of things put that on hold, and then they like pushed it back, and then they pushed it back. And so, but now it's the real deal. So
all right, get it ready, everybody.
Yeah, because like you got to make sure that you are set to go, or else just travel with your passport. So not everybody does that or has one.
I just got mine.
Oh, you did. Bravo. Fantastic. Now it's time
ready
for
to go. International.
International, baby. Oh my gosh. Crazy. So anyway, so that's a big thing. Don't get stuck with that one at the airport because that would be no fun. Anyway, our next topic here. Do you want to lead the way with this? I feel
It's
like I've
at
been
the
leading
airport.
Yes.
You're good at introing. Talk about Southwest Airlines.
Okay. Hey, all right. Southwest Airlines, we know them. They are they're introducing new routes and services. So and this is cool because it's showing that there's been an increase in demand, and they're adding new routes and services, including, drum roll please, flights to Europe. Through a partnership with Icelandair.
Oh.
So that's kind of cool because prior to that, Southwest had not been flying really.
No, and we talked about them a couple times, like changing the way they're doing their seating and all those things. So,
and they're offering additional flights for major events such as the Super Bowl, aka the Sports Bowl, which I referred to it as this weekend. I didn't even know the Super Bowl was happening this weekend. I just why would I mean it's not happening.
You're cheering
here.
for one of the teams.
I mean, yeah.
But they're adding red eye flights, which is there, and then they're also saying that they're working on implementing their seating and premium seating options. But they've been talking about that. I feel like we've been talking about that for a year.
Well, yeah, because they announced that, we're gonna go away from our traditional seating model, which is what made them so unique. And they probably got so much pushback. They were like, oh, hold up, we have to think about this again. So yeah, we'll see what they end up doing with that. But I don't blame them. And look, I will give this to them. Southwest has always been, their customer support has always been incredible. They have been so good. And look, they're a great, they're a great airline as far as offering that like mid-level sort of airline experience. So I'm excited for them.
Keep it going, Southwest. I haven't been on one in a while, but now we've got your favorite.
Who?
You got Delta. Talk about Delta. I love you talk about airlines because you are the travel expert here.
I mean, kind of. So this is interesting. Delta, as some of us know, and we touched on it briefly a couple weeks ago. Delta CEO spoke at he gave the keynote at CES.
And you were there.
Yes, and I was there. It was very cool in the Sphere. So Delta's kind of in this interesting position. They're really kind of primed to be sort of like premium in air travel. They've just been really going above and beyond from all the different offerings, everything that they're playing around with. AI, they're going to be doing, that concierge service that they're going to be offering, which is an AI service, Delta Concierge. But what's interesting is that they've seen an increased revenue for premium tickets. So that's awesome. 3/4 of first class seats are now paid for rather than upgraded. As somebody who always gets upgraded because I don't pay for those first class seats, I'm just going to keep it real with you guys. It's harder to get
crazy prices. They're crazy. Some of those,
for sure.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like if you want to pay for it and you can go for it. But what's more so interesting and the biggest challenge, because I'm in this sort of travel space, and obviously a lot of my friends travel internationally, I am so loyal to Delta, but the trouble is when it comes to international travel, they're a little bit limited in their partners that they work with. I mean, they work with Air France, KLM, but it's slightly limited routes. So they're kind of falling short internationally compared to Qatar, Emirates, and definitely in regards to service and food, which they are kind of leading the charge in that. But it's going to be interesting to see how they're kind of leaning into what they need to do to increase their international offerings. So they're like, okay, we got the domestic thing on lock. How can we now increase everything international?
From Miami, like I try to take Delta because you got me thinking about Delta all the time, but there's not as many. It's all American Airlines here. Is like
because it's an American hub. Yep.
And so I take that a lot, but then I miss out on a lot. I do like a lot of what Delta does. So it's going to be interesting to see how they continue because you're right. Like if they could do more international and grow their presence in bigger cities and start to do more of that, would be really good. I'd be willing to go like maybe have a stop extra instead of going direct sometimes.
Totally. Well, it's interesting. Like I was thinking about, I'm probably going to do a trip through London and Paris. Hey, my London and Paris friends. Mainly I need to go swing by a bunch of hotels. I have a lot of clients that go there quite often. So I just need to do a quick whoop, whoop, round up, say my hellos. And But I was thinking about flights, and it was like, okay, well, I guess it makes sense for me to basically fly Delta or Air France to Paris and then kind of go from there and then fly back from that, as opposed to what I would love to do in an ideal world is fly to Paris, do my things there, go to London and fly back directly from London. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, that's obviously first world problems, but
yeah,
it's there are limited options that would make sense for me in that case.
So listen, we talked a lot about airlines today.
Yes.
We got Delta, we got Southwest, we got IDs. So everyone, get ready to travel this year. We've given you all the tips on how to get on these flights the right way. Don't get arrested. Make sure you're traveling on the right providers.
No. The goal is never to get arrested. What are we talking about? Come on.
Your real ID. Your real ID. You got to come with your real
ID. I don't think they're going to arrest you. They're just going to be like, you can't get on this flight. You need to go home and come back with your passport.
I've seen some crazy things at the airports. Let's behave, everybody.
That we have. Everybody behave. That is true. You want to go into our real-time recap, by the way?
I do. So this weekend was, as a parent, you sometimes see this. It's a heavy back-to-back birthday parties. So Saturday and Sunday kid birthday parties.
Okay.
But one of them was cool. So one of the parents is a hospitality pro, and she booked a place at this place called 1-800-Lucky, which is an Asian food hall. Like, what are we doing here? In the back is a private karaoke room, and all the kids were singing karaoke. And I really wanted to start singing karaoke. And then it was the Lunar New Year, so they had dragons coming through, the drums, the whole show.
Okay.
So I just thought that place, did a really good job. Everyone was very friendly because, you bring in a bunch of 7, 8, and 9-year-olds to this food hall. It's really usually for adults.
Yeah.
They did a great job stepping up, making sure we felt welcome, taking care of the kids and the adults, and putting on this amazing show for everybody. So good job to 1-800-Lucky in Wynwood.
I love that name. That name is like that's kind of fun.
It's catchy, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely catchy. Interesting. I had kind of like a different experience. I don't even know if I want to like say the name of the restaurant.
Lumel sure is an upgrade from Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, yeah.
I love me a good Chuck E. Cheese pizza and some video games too. So,
which, by the way,
definitely different.
Shout out to Lou. I got to see Lou in person in New York. So shout out. Thank you for always joining us. And so great to see you. So maybe I'll see you in Phoenix in a week and a half. We'll see.
Very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I had an interesting experience. And look, we've all been there before where a restaurant's popular, it's hot, or maybe it's like a busy time for it. Yeah. And, we didn't have a reservation. Fine. And it was an hour wait. Fine. And it was so interesting because it's like, I just went back to check in at like the 40-minute mark just to be like, hey, just curious, like, is it still looking like at an hour or like have things changed? And the way that they like just responded was just like, it's like you have 20 minutes until your expected seating time. And I was just like, oh, okay, calm down.
But you had a reservation.
No, I didn't have a reservation. So this was on the wait list. So I had an hour-long wait on the wait list. And I just checked in at the 40-minute mark to be like, how's the wait list looking? Is it moving faster than expected or longer than expected? That's all. Just trying to get a gauge.
Yeah. What else could they have said to you, Sarah? What could they have done? Let's train some people out there. What could they have said in that moment?
Well, it would be like, unfortunately, things are still looking like it's the same timeline. So maybe still about 20 more minutes, as opposed to being like, you still have, like, it was the way that she said, it was like, you still have 20 more minutes left on your expected wait.
I can picture her already. I can picture her.
Yeah, it was just like, and I'm probably not even wording it quite the way that she said it. Like, it was a little like,
you don't have it in you, right? But I could say like, hey, some people are wrapping up dessert. I see them there. We're almost done. I know you want to get in. We're almost there.
And I get it. You're busy. You probably have a lot of people that are checking in, but I was nice about it. And it just is one of those things that there was no finesse to it at all. And it was just like, okay. And then once we got that, it was all right. I mean, that's what it was. Crazy as an F&B background. You're going to die with this. So I order a latte and they bring the latte. And typically when you order a coffee drink, you always bring a offering of sweetener, or you offer before, like, would you like whatever? So you bring what they want with it. No, nobody asked me if I wanted any sweetener or sugar or anything. Nobody brought it. I asked not once, not twice. I had to ask 3 times for it. They kept forgetting. And then they're like, yeah, what did you want? I was like, oh, a stevia is fine. They brought one stevia packet. And I was like, are we rationing our stevia? Now I'm a weirdo and I like to put like at least 2 in it, but like,
did they charge you for it? I would love to know if they put that.
No, they did not charge me for it.
$4.
But like, it was so, and I felt so bad, but I was also like, this is like restaurant 101.
A lot of places like that, the hot places, that's why they're hot for 6 months and then they die off.
Wow.
They don't have that. They spend a lot of money on decor and beautiful people and the plates and the tables and all this stuff. But then you get in there and it's like, you don't want me here? Okay, I won't come back.
Yeah. And I mean, they were nice. And then it took them forever to bring the bill. And it was so funny because the one woman said, she was like, oh my gosh, she came back. The one that somebody else brought it. And then the one of them that forgot actually came back and was like, oh my gosh, I realized I totally forgot to bring that. She's like, and I was like, oh, it's okay. It happens. Like, I get it. It's busy. And she was like, oh my gosh, there's nothing worse. Sometimes I'll be at home and realize I forgot to do something earlier in the day, which, by the way, I totally understand. We've all been there before. Yeah. But I made the joke when we were waiting. And I was like, should we just leave? And then maybe later she'll realize she forgot to bring the bill. Come on.
Rough.
So I know it's rough out there in those streets, but wow, I got so heated about stevia, but man.
Don't mess with their stevia.
It comes with coffee. You should always offer sweetener with coffee.
Well, let me get into our quote then. How about that? I think it's a perfect thing for your stevia.
Thank you.
Never say no when a client asks for something. Even if it is the moon, you can always try. And anyhow, there is plenty of time afterwards to explain that it was not possible. From Caesar Ritz.
Totally.
Always try to find an option. I think that is exactly. Unless it's illegal or immoral, you don't say no. And even then, you can say, well, we don't do that here, but I could maybe get you this, right?
Totally.
We've worked in places at high places where they have some crazy requests for some of the vices in the world, right?
And so exactly.
You just redirect a little bit.
Totally. I mean, even now, I know, I've got private clients that I book for, and I have to do reservations, and I've been trying to get a group of 6 for dinner in New York, and we're now on like restaurant number 4. And we were kind of going through the sister restaurants, and when I was getting like the second, no, but maybe you can call this restaurant. I called them immediately, was able to secure it. And I basically went back to them. I was like, sorry, we got another no from this, but I did secure this. So at least we have this option. But now what else can we get for you? So, I mean, again, like living through that, I mean, that is, to me, that's hospitality 101. But, some people just need to be reminded about that. Ooh, what is this? What did Lou have to say here? Love this comment. Attitude and personable behavior goes so far in customer service. It should not be hard to be nice. So true.
So I will go to a place. So talk about restaurant, and we can leave it at this because I like this quote. I will go to a place that makes you feel good and the food is so versus a place that has like unbelievable Michelin star food and you feel terrible with the people and how they treat you there. So it's always a person. I will give that to you. One dive bar, restaurant that's old, whatever it might be. If you treat somebody nice, you're going to have fans for life.
So true. So true. Man,
that's a good place to end our show here.
That's a great.
And my brother, hold on. My brother here asking a question here. Uh-oh. He's got one for Sarah.
Oh, no. What's the best way to set up restaurant reservations or hotel activities like spa time? Oh,
15 people.
For 15 people. Okay. So reservations obviously make sense. I mean, you need to just plan ahead. Reach out to whatever the concierge is or somebody that's there. Yes.
We're going to get Sarah to set this up for us.
But spa. So here's the tricky thing with the spa thing.
It's all different appointments.
This is so funny. This is such a guy question because women have totally traveled in a group and like done spa days. So, but I love it. I love that you're asking. Basically, you're going to kind of block out part of the afternoon because it's going to be hard to get. Let's just say all 15 of you wanted a massage at the same time. pretty hard to get all of that.
Is there no one giant couples room we could all go into?
Oh my gosh. No. No, I'm gonna tone down my jokes here. But yeah, so yeah, just block out kind of the day but I would honestly, if you're gonna I'd poll the group, see who wants to get massages or whatever you're getting, whatever spa treatments, and then reach out now because you might be needing to have people like 3 or 4 at a time that you can have like back to back. So there you go. That's my pro tip.
David, we'll talk at our dinner tonight.
Save room for me.
Yeah, we'll bring Sarah. Sarah's gonna book it for us.
Hilarious. Anyway, super fun show today.
Love the energy. Always good on a Wednesday. We keep bringing the big news, and to everyone out there, keep staying hospitable.
Yes,
good sign off.
Right.
I think I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you did that last week. I'm into it.
I like it. Stay hospitable, people. See you next week.